Please welcome the CEW superstar, Chris Jevens. Thanks, Jevens, to have this interview with us.
No problem.
So the first question everybody asks first, were you a big fan growing up of wrestling?
Was I? I was a big fan of pro wrestling growing up. Um, I started watching pro wrestling in 2001 around WrestleMania 17. It wasn't exactly at WrestleMania itself. It was the weeks leading up to WrestleMania 17. And but when I didn't really watch wrestling as much as I did after WrestleMania 17. I wouldn't like pay that much attention to the thing that grab my attention that much until WrestleMania 17 right there, when I was sitting at home watching it with my family, and the match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And it was a hell of a match. It was in Houston, Texas. I watched that match, and that's when wrestling itself grabbed my attention. That's when I started following, ever since WrestleMania 17, I started following wrestling ever since. That's when I decided that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. And that's what I'm going to be, and here I am today.
That's good. So, when you were growing up, which superstar, WWE superstar, any wrestler today, or growing up, was your favorite? What was your favorite wrestler growing up?
I was, and I still am up to this day, a fan of Chris Jericho, Edge, and Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is my favorite because of his intensity and his toughness, his ruthless, aggressive. Edge, because he's young, and he was, when I started becoming a fan of Edge, he was hungry for competition, and that's why I was a fan of Edge. Chris Jericho, because of his entertaining, back when he would say, "Would you please shut the hell up?" That would really make things more fun. And as right there, he was a baby face, and then he turned heel. I still am a fan of Chris Jericho. I've been loyalty to these three individuals that I've been fan of ever since I started watching wrestling in 2001.
So that's about it.
Yeah.
So how did you ever started? Why did you pick Chris Jevens in the first place? Why?
Chris Jevens.
Did somebody told you Ed Jevens? Is that your nickname or real name? What?
I was getting into this CEW thing where I am right now, with Dennis Cage and Rob Styles and APJ, and it was 2004. I was at home thinking about a wrestling name, and I was thinking about a gimmick, and I came across, I realized that the people, the wrestling fans, they really hated this Canadian wrestler who would talk garbage to America, and he was a great heel, and he attracted a lot of the fans, whether he was bad or good. So I wanted to kind of be similar to that. And also, I was a fan of Chris Jericho, as I said. So I was kind of looking to imitate both of them. So that's why.
So you're a big fan of Chris Jericho.
Exactly,
that's why you're saying.
Why,
that's why.
as you can see, Chris Jericho, Chris Jevens.
Good point.
Similar, right?
Yeah.
And Jevens, I don't know. I was thinking of a unique name, a name that no one has ever heard of, and That's just
You know an actor named after kind of like you? Like, have you ever heard of Chris Evans?
yeah, but I didn't heard of
The
that guy
actor?
until long after I made up Chris Jevens. That name popped into my head. At first, I was skeptical. Wasn't too sure if that name was good enough for me to use, and I was like pondering about it. Maybe I'm not too sure, but then after taping the first couple episodes of CEW
You
in
got used to it
2005,
and everything?
it kind of stick in my image, and I in 2007 after I became champion, I I dropped that name. I became Dave Marazzi, and I didn't. Dave Marazzi, that name
Didn't last
wasn't
that
so
much.
good, and that name didn't have the star name that I came with it. I realized Dave Marazzi,
It does. It's
not for
not.
me. It wasn't good enough. It didn't. It lowered my career actually. So I
True.
returned back to being Chris Jevens. The fans they hate me, I guess, when I talk crap to America, which is not a whole lot. I love America. That's where I live in real life, and this is just a part of me being Canadian, talking crap about U.S., which is not a whole lot. It's just to entertain the fans that watch these videos on YouTube and MySpace.
The other question I wanted to ask, like, why did you choose to be a Canadian? Do you hate Canadians? Do you like a Canadian? Do you wish you were a
Well, I'm
Canadian?
not.
Or you were raised in a Canadian? Or
No,
what?
no, it's not.
Or it's
Like
just
I
a
said, I
gimmick?
just wanted to imitate that other Canadian.
Oh, like you were saying right now.
and Chris Jericho, so I just got with that.
So you wanted to be kind of like the next Y2J, the next
Yeah.
Chris Jericho, but different name, different kind
yeah.
of character.
Similar.
Similar.
But as my career extended, I started acting way different than Chris Jericho. Sometimes you can't even tell that I'm supposed to be a character of Canadian. These days, you watch the CW videos, people don't even notice that I'm supposed to have a gimmick of being Canadian. I don't use that a whole lot these days, and maybe I should use it because right now I think I'm boring the hell out of people, honestly. I should like use that to my advantage to be a hero and stuff.
But we'll be right back after this message for more questions to ask the Canadian Chris Jevens. We'll be right back.